Hey guys, you have McGann here recording my 100,000 subscribers special where I'm going to do commentary for a video. And yes, I'm sure you can guess I'm going to do Coraline on Netflix. Why? Because it's still the most popular series on my channel and you will not see audio or visual for this. It's literally just going to be a black screen with me commenting once I hit play. The idea is you're going to hit play at the same time, and I'm just going to do my commentary for the movie while it's going on in real time. So this is unscripted, unrehearsed, and a complete test video. Let me know how you like it when it's all said and done. Ready, guys? Click play now. All right, it's still loading. There it goes. I'm in association with Pandemonium LLC. Coraline. I love how they sewed in her name there. Dakota Fanning. Terry Hatcher. And it's okay if you're a couple seconds before or after me. It's all going to relatively work out the same. Jennifer Saunders. Who is she? Oh, she was one of Miss Spanker, Miss Forcible. Keith David is such an underappreciated voice actor. He gives you so much with the same relative voice every time. Now this is interesting how the doll is falling down, and it's definitely, I mean, it seems like it's falling down straight out of the sky. I mean, we don't see any walls. We don't see any inkling of a well. It's just really bizarre. And this whole room here, we never see this room again in the entire movie. Ugh, gosh, I hate it when they do with eyes. Ugh, I don't mind the mouth ripper, but the eyes, it's like so sensitive. Ugh. See, and it starts out as cotton, and then she turns it inside out, like that's the clean side maybe, and she fills it back in with sand. Or actually, it looks like sand, but now you can see it here in the mouth. It's more like a sawdust property. It pours like sand, but it's just not, yeah, very close up here. You can see it's definitely sawdust that we're looking at. And all these different buttons, and look at the spiderweb details that are just from how long they've been sitting. It's so interesting. And I just hate the eye thing. It just messes with me so badly. I wish it was that easy to give a doll hair, if only. And see, and yeah, this is the neat thing too, is that she's making the yellow raincoat, and see the spider webs there. Again, this hasn't been used in a very long time, but she's making a raincoat for Coraline. And why? How does she know what Coraline's going to be wearing that day? And we've got this very old, like, what room is this? We never see this wallpaper again. And then the doll just floats away. Like, there's so much more to that than we'll ever know. And yes, there is Mr. Bobinski doing squats up on the roof for reasons. But did they honk at him, or were they honking because they just cut off the movers? Because I think they were honking at the moving truck so they wouldn't get smashed. I don't think Mr. Bobinski's in the same plane of reality that everyone else is in. I feel like that license plate means something too. And then there's Miss Spink. Nobody notices her. Like, even looked at her, didn't notice her, didn't nod, didn't stop, nothing. But she noticed them, just like Mr. Bobinski. That's why I think there's something weird about these residents. Hey, you need to give me my tip now. You got $1. Who's on that dollar? I just realized that's not a standard dollar. And then those movers, I think I looked that up before, and they're from Michigan? I might be wrong. It's been a minute since I looked that up. This is such a beautiful shot. We see this garden house over on the left side. Like, I don't think she ever goes in that. And then we have another building back here on the right behind the bushes that looks like some beat up old shed, maybe a garage. And there's her, what do you call those, water dowels. And that's what's interesting. The cat's watching her out of the bush, too. So we have this very strange relationship with the cat, like starting almost instantaneously with the film. Great shot again. I love the different colors and textures in the grass. Like you can tell it's seasoned. It's kind of drier up there. And it's our chance for a cheap jump scare. This movie is really actually scary for a kid's movie. See, just the way this cat's Okay, I have to stop myself. This is important. You see, all these trees are rotted. It's not just winter time and they're old. They're actually rotted. Everything's dead here. I don't know that I noticed that exactly like that before. I thought it was winter, but yeah, if you look, you can see the fruit still on the tree, which means they never fell, which means they were not being harvested, and the trees are probably bad and rotted. Maybe from a water issue, like I was just saying, it seems like it's drier up at the top of the mountain there. Dowser rod, that's it. Beautiful job with the wind blowing and those tall pine trees. Yeah, we're from Atlanta where that's definitely a thing. You watch them shift in the wind and get scared. Where does he get water witching from that? I mean, she's just a kid screwing around. And see, Wybie looks so nervous this entire time. Like, he's always got his head tilted. He's always got his hands up. He's always kind of twitchy. Like, why is he so nervous if he doesn't know anything that's going on? And it's interesting how that fairy ring goes in a perfect circle all around the well. And it's actually interesting, too, that Wybie knows exactly the perimeter of that door, because he really shouldn't, since it's buried in the mud, and he's not supposed to be there. See, he looks around like he looks guilty and suspicious this entire movie, and they never do anything with that. See, he's so busy being nervous, he's not even listening to her say what her name is. Her nose is like legit crooked. They have poison oak in Michigan. I mean, she's not stupid. Her parents work with plants. How does she not know that? Even the cat's like, how do you not know that? I know more about your life than you do. But yeah, that ring would suggest either trying to keep something in or keep something out, which is a really cool detail because in the book there is a fairy or the suggestion of a fairy, and they don't do this in the movie. I almost fell down a well yesterday. I know a lot of people have corrected me on that. When you're writing notes while you're watching, you miss a few things here and there. Mud actually makes it much harder to dig a hole to plant things, so I don't know where this girl's logic is coming from. See, and that's another big line that a lot of people miss, that it wasn't my fault you hit that truck because Mom's wearing a neck brace, not a turtleneck. See, I get Mom is working, so she's kind of irritated, but they also just moved in and they need to be unpacking and doing all this other stuff, so I don't know why she's so irritated. Like, she should be prepared that her, 10, 11, 12-year-old girl is bored out of her mind. She's not a new parent. You're way too old for dolls, and then you continue to play with the doll because you're bored, I guess. But even if you're too old for dolls, you don't find it freaky that the doll looks just like you? And Whitey supposedly pulled it out of his grandmother's, I think he said trunk or closet or something. I missed that talking. But, so why doesn't he think that it's really weird? That's why I really think the Lovats are in on this whole thing, because between the doll and how weird and twitchy Wybie is, there's just no way he can't be. Again, look at all these boxes around him and nobody's unpacking. They're so busy working on this catalog that they can't stop to unpack, but he's not writing a catalog. He's back there working on his passion project if you actually pause and read the screen. I know I did that in one of my videos, I don't know which, but I know it doesn't make sense as a catalog entry for what he's writing. Skis, we have skis out. Because it's like summertime in Oregon. No, it's President's Day in Oregon, supposedly. But yet, everything's all dead in the in the orchard. So, yeah, I don't know. It should be all, leafless, not rotted. And there's the picture of Coraline with brown hair when I think they said they're at the Detroit Zoo later on. Ugh. Silverfish, lovely. Ugh, you see the little guts on her hands. And the brown water from the pipes. I mean, people are like, nobody thought out a kid's movie this much. Like, seriously, look at these details. They thought about every second of this film. Why would you even have a light switch like that? That doesn't even make sense. That's a sign that you're doing the wrong thing, Charlie. Get off your computer and, unpack your house. Act like your child exists. Mom's snow gloves. Dash living room. That's a weird combo for a box. Yeah, there's the Detroit Zoo. They were standing by that fountain in the picture. There's no gloves in that box, though, is there? The sad blue boy. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with that boy, but the way the Jones family hasn't unpacked, I do kind of agree that he came with the house. I don't think that's a painting they hung up. But I do know in the book, I think Coraline says that that's her uncle or something to that effect. I can't fact check while I'm talking, so you'll have to forgive me when I screw up. And see, that's when I would see that and be like, nope, thank you, and walk away. Like, I would be freaked out beyond belief. And who moves in the middle of publishing something? Like, that doesn't make sense. Finish your work, then you move, unless you have to run out of town to avoid a lawsuit or something. See, she's not just annoyed. She's, furious. Look at her face and the disgust in it and her tone. This isn't like, Coraline, we'll sort this out as soon as I'm done, I swear. That's a normal parent's reaction. This is her just being evil, kind of, for no reason. And she knows exactly which key to grab, which doesn't make sense, because she had to brush out all the other keys to get it. And that's where I think I came up with forever ago that the the beldam actually traded places with her a long time before this movie started. Maybe while Coraline was up at the well, or maybe when they came to look at the house before they moved in. But yeah, there's no reason that Mom should know what that key does or why. I mean, none of them are labeled. Delicious. But look at how dirty this house is. It looks like it's covered in like roach crap in the background. Like, Mom's not cleaning at all. They're both just being computer junkies. But she's too old for dolls. And here she is, like, even speaking for it and having it shake its head. And that doesn't quite make sense either. Well, I'm too old for dolls, but let me play with this doll. And she has some other toys on her shelf there and on her bed there. So she's got some other options if she doesn't want to specifically play with dolls. She's attracted to this doll for some reason, almost like catnip. People say one of those is a girl. I assume the one with the glasses, but I never get that impression. Oh, that's a neat little, the praying mantis that looks just like the one the other father uses in the garden. And I am one that does not believe that the other world is a dream, really. I think there's parts you could maybe argue that it is, but I don't know. I like it better as a real, tangible place. And so the doll spying on those types of things so that the other mother can create them to make Coraline subconsciously more comfortable is really an ingenious kind of plan. Gosh, those mice are so cute. I don't know how they get through the brick with paper, though. It's an interesting swirling background there, which would, again, support that this is a dream because those aren't normal cloud patterns, but I really don't like the movie as a not real thing. Why couldn't they just get rid of the bricks before the mice came through and made their journey a little bit easier? It's a beautiful tunnel. The most fantastically lit ocean-like tunnel. It's almost really like a birth canal, like she's coming through to the other side and being reborn, which, again, that fits into like dream and coma theories so much, but I don't want that to be the case. And now the boy's sitting there all happy, yay, but I really think that's just to symbolize that this is a better place, or so you think. I don't know that the blue boy has any real significance beyond that. He could. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Oh, I love those doors that push into the side of the wall. Oh, I haven't had one of those doors. Like 3 houses ago, we had a kitchen door like that. It was great. And again, what is wrong with this girl's like fight or flight response to fear here? You see somebody with freaky button eyes, you turn around and run away. Oh my gosh. If she does live to be a teenager, she's gonna end up like murdered by going home with some serial killer. I mean, oh my gosh, Coraline has no safety preservation instincts in her brain. In Soviet otherworld, piano plays you. I have to resist the urge to sing along. Oh, he's got a big old cello back there. Records, which would be way outdated by the time this is out. It's going by so fast I can't catch most of the details. I'd like to study those pictures more. Old recording and mixing equipment back there. It's a Toreador painting. The piano starving? Really? What a cheesy joke. But then I guess he wouldn't be the other father without dad puns of his own. That's a weird just conversation back and forth, prayer, blessing there. I don't know. It just sits weird with me. See, the other mother doesn't eat, just like, oh gosh, what is that movie? Not Miss Foster's Home for Peculiar Children. Peregrine, Miss Peregrine. She doesn't eat either. And I feel very unsettled that Coraline eats here because she's taking something from the other world into her body. And I don't know, it seems like, oh gosh, what was it? Like Persephone or something, that she ate the pomegranate seeds and had to spend 6 months a year in the underworld. That's probably completely wrong, so don't freak out when it is. That's because if it seems too good to be true, it probably is, darling. I don't know why she can't keep her annoyance to herself. Like that impatient finger tap. It's I don't know. That's probably more for the audience to tell us it's not that great. I love that little handprint in the lightning, or the little claw hand that pops up in the lightning. Great shot of those silhouettes of unknown children in the back that are definitely not the ghost children we see later. See, it's taken her way too long to get weirded out and suspicious of this situation. All right, I'm trying to wait for this moment to pop up so I don't miss talking about it. Again, that looks and sounds like two boys to me, but I'm willing to accept I might be mistaken. I don't know. Maybe he had tights and fancy shoes. I can't tell. The mud. Okay, this is a great point to prove that the other world is real, because when Coraline wakes up, her hand is going to be totally healed. And this right here is where the whole movie falls apart for me, as being realistic for what we're being shown, because how did she transport back to her bed? There was nothing she walked through. She just fell asleep and woke back up in her bed. She didn't go back through the tunnel. I don't believe the bed is a portal. I think that this is all where it becomes a ruse, and Coraline thinks she's in the real world, but she's actually not. Yeah, it's gone because the other world is real and you're still in it. And see, I think the whole thing with it is that the other mother had to not only lure her in, but she had to get her to fall asleep there or something, to where she'd get so disoriented she wouldn't be able to tell reality from fantasy anymore. Now, see, that's a little bit of a sassy mom. She doesn't seem so angry here like she did yesterday. She's got a little smile. She's got the little smirk going on, and she's got like the eyes like, I see what you're doing. You better straighten up, see? And that's the first time she acknowledges the neighbors, was when she tells Coraline to go like do whatever, or you called them crackpots, whatever she just said. I was talking over it. But that's the first time in the movie that either of the parents acknowledge the neighbors, and this is when she's already in what I call the limbo pink palace. Bobinski there, and yet they still delivered his cheese to the wrong place. It's almost like they were trying to set up a framing device to send Coraline up those stairs. I bet that box says something interesting, but I can't read Russian. And chicken in the attic, because that's a great place to keep a chicken. Chicken looks so healthy, too. And that medal he's wearing, I went through like hundreds of pages of World War I and II medals trying to find it. And then it turned out to be something from Chernobyl. So that might kill some of my theorizing, but I don't know. I've got notes on it. I'm just not quite ready to deliver the final product yet. Miska, Muska, Mickey Mouse. Yeah, sorry, as she tries to look away from him, waving his junk in her face. I love his arms shaking while he's trying to hold himself up. That's a great detail. And the fencing there is slightly bent down from where he's been doing that a lot and put all that weight on it. He's warped the fence slightly. I know so many people like him that they've gotten to a size where they don't realize the shirt doesn't cover their entire stomach. I was unfortunately at a wedding like that once, the poor guy. Now, I will admit I don't typically eat beets, but I feel like that's a really gross looking beet. And see, he calls her the wrong name too, almost to irritate her so that she's going to be hungry to go back to the other world. See, and if this is the real world, why can he talk to mice? It just doesn't quite make sense. His mustache is attached to the bottom of his nose, I just realized. It's not attached to his face, but the tip of his nose. Ew. But, yeah, see, this is the moment where it's like, oh, by the way, the other world is real, and you want to go back there. So it's everything, if you look at it from the angle of this being a limbo world, it kind of fits. And see, and that's just to show, well, they're serious. The mice are real, blah, 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 because they know that her name's Caroline and he's going to still argue it. All these are just insanity moments to push the plot forward, I guess. And who leaves their suitcase out for several... It was raining since they've moved in. No whistling in the house, which is a very odd rule. I assume that's something for the dogs. Or, oh, that must be because they were so sexy at one point. They don't want to be whistled at. And she's going to make sure that Coraline's aware that there are these, like, sexy ladies from the posters. My goodness, I don't know how she stands up straight without falling forward. Julia sees her King Lear. Great shot with the glasses and the blur around it. See, this isn't a movie or a story. This is pure visual art. And this is so creepy. I can see you have problems letting go of a lot of things in your life, ma'am. And here is the fourth candy bowl that is about to break, but makes an interesting case that they are representing the ghost children. I'm sorry, I totally lost my train of thought. That they are representing the residents of the house and not the ghost children that Miss Spink and Forcible supposedly know nothing about. And isn't it weird that this is her first day back in the quote real world, but everything is designed to make her want to go back to the other world? Yeah, the claw. It's like, out of all the things it could be, it's a claw hand. That's the second thing telling Coraline, who is bored to death and wants adventure, that, hey, there's some danger if you go back to this place that you shouldn't go back to. Huh, what will I do, I wonder? Let's go find out what that danger is. It's simple reverse psychology and it works like a charm. Interesting raining fog effect that they achieved here. Especially considering it's stop motion, so extra hard to do. And now it sounds like Silent Hill, and it just gives me the creeps. I love Silent Hill, but the music gives me the creeps. Are you, though? Because you were looking right at her. If that's not his cat, there's no way that cat would let him touch him, let alone put him in his coat, because he's a wild cat that does not favor being trapped. And it took you this long to question it. Trying to figure out what symbol is on her hat there. It looks kind of like a campfire. This is such a weird scene. See, and there he is wringing his hands like, I feel guilty about what I'm about to have to do to her. See, he doesn't even want to give her eye contact. I don't think he's afraid of this house at all. I think he's saying something that he's been told to say, and he feels bad about it because he knows how this is going to play out. Maybe she just ran away, he said, like looking off to the corner and not in her face like he was just doing when they were talking about banana slugs. Except the doll's not quite perfectly like Coraline was dressed because the doll has a skirt on. Coraline was wearing blue jeans. I'm very confident about that because my daughter was that outfit of Coraline a few Halloweens ago. So I wonder why the beldam got that detail off. It's funny how she almost fell and didn't even make a thumping sound. See, the whole day was designed to make her want to go back through that portal. Now she's not nervous, she's not apprehensive, she's not afraid. She's very much a willing participant of the other world and to see what it has to offer versus her boring old humdrum world. doesn't that sound like she's annoyed? It's so thoughtful of you to send this nice cheddar. Like, she sounds annoyed. Is hungry as a pumpkin a phrase that people in Oregon use? Because I've never heard of that before. And she's eating again. It's so unsettling to me. Okay, we still do have the greenhouse on the left side there, I noticed, but I don't think they ever get near it. See, and the whole point of the button eyes, and I believe they directly say this in a half an hour or so, is that the beldam can see through them to spy with them. So the only reason to have minions with button eyes is because she's either controlling them or so that she knows every little thing that's going on. And considering that everything does exactly what she wants, exactly how she wants it, I mean, the mice took the cheese back to her. They didn't stop there and eat it. That tells me that they're being controlled. He just murdered them. It's time to eat, Coraline. You just say it's time to eat, darling. Oh, the little house is her clip. Okay, that's how they work that out. I want to know what's in that greenhouse, though. There are clues. Clues I cannot access. Why does the other father need to eat but not the other mother? That's weird. Is that just to make Coraline feel comfortable? Oh, look at the moon eclipsing in the background. I wonder if that's got the button over it then. Coraline's kind of a mean-spirited girl, isn't she? I like that he can't talk. That makes me happy. None of my friends should be able to have thoughts or opinions of their own. What is that, a beacon? Like, is that supposed to be telling people the show's about to start? I don't get it. Didn't seem to be piloted by, and the grossest thing. Ugh. Yes, please, let's eat our chicken poop popcorn. That's lovely. Perfectly sanitary, not salmonella related at all. Ugh. So gross. Oh, he's got a medal framed up there in the left corner. Sergei Alexander Bobinsky. It had all the mice in it. So that's not weird or heavy. Who's kidding? Who am I kidding? Like, physics don't apply in the other world? Where did you even come from? Little mouse on a parachute. The animation on this one is really kind of weird and choppy. Such a strange sequence. Isn't it wonderful? Because it's basically mice just jumping in a circle. I mean, I know they have tiny costumes and instruments, but they can't seriously be playing them. They don't have lips. And now we have Murder Mouse rolling on a ball. Come get you, my pretties. And he's still got that Chernobyl medal. Like that is his pride and joy somehow. You can see the texture on his coat there, and it's really a cool like velvet suede maybe. That is the neatest thing about these stop motion movies, is like you can see things in so many different ways and possibilities, and Leica always does such a good job getting all these tiny little details to fixate on. Oh, look, the sun up there. It has the swirl in it like the clouds outside Coraline's window before she came in. And again, she goes to sleep there. She wakes up at home. It doesn't make sense. This is a ruse. The only place she could be teleported to is another part of the other world, because she didn't go anywhere to leave the other world. The Shakespeare Festival is a real thing in Ashland, Oregon, it turns out, which is another incredible level of detail. This is not your first book, I assume, Mr. Charlie Jones. Why are you being so wimpy? And if you really listen to the sound, like the tires on wet pavement, it's such a good, crisp sound that they came up with. They did such a good job. See, now it's President's Day. All school uniforms are half price, yet they've been there for at least a couple of days. So Coraline didn't just start school here. I'm sorry, how I should phrase that and actually make sense to people. If they've been there for months, like some people have kind of argued with me that they've just lived there for months and she only went to the other world occasionally, then she wouldn't be getting her uniforms today because she wouldn't have started school, upcoming in the next week or so. President's Day for anyone not in the United States is in February, and usually about the middle of February, I do believe. They focused on that Linden's bag for a little bit too long. I stopped in the middle of talking. Like that Linden's bag, I feel like that's a store in the UK, but it could be an Ashland, Oregon, like mom and pop store too. I don't know. Never been there. See, and Mel is also, she's much more likable and much more sympathetic. She's not as just outright kind of mean like she was the first time we interact with her with Coraline. And I think that all plays into when Coraline comes back at the end and she's trapped herself in the limbo world. Well, now she's got this mom that she's going to be much more sympathetic towards, that's been very nice and more kind and more caring towards her than the actual mother we saw at the beginning of the movie. See, everything has changed so subtly, but so much, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Oh, there's a clock back there. Okay, so it's like 2:15, I think. Well, no, it would be 2:20, 18:20. It's about 2 p.m. It's a little bit after 2 p.m. by my call here. Of course, I didn't get to pause it and take a very good look at it, so don't start yelling at me in the comments when I'm totally wrong. Oh, they do have bug wallpaper on this side too. But it's all faded, so you can hardly remember. It's like the Otherworld house is the brand new version when everything was shiny and perfect after being built. There's our creepy cat standing out in the rain going, oh gosh. Or maybe that's an, oh thank goodness. Like finally that girl's going back in again. And now not only is she going to eat in the other world, she's going to wear clothing from the other world. And the doll did not go with them to Linden's, so how does she even know about the glove situation to know that Coraline wants something cool to wear? She wouldn't unless the other mother is actually Mel Jones in the Limbo Pink Palace too. See, compare this voice to the villain in Princess and the Frog, or Goliath from Gargoyles, or even the police officer in Gargoyles. All the same actor. You can tell it's all the same person speaking, but he gives such different performances. Like he totally creates these new characters. He does an incredible job. I think he's so underrated. And see, now we have, oh, I love the other mother, but the other mother doesn't want you down here. It takes too much energy for Coraline to be trapped down here. She wants you up in the other level of the Pink Palace Limbo where you're kind of double sealed in. You're like a lockbox in a lockbox. And so now she's getting this cat that's going to show up to be her ally so that if the cat says it's okay, Coraline's going to believe it's okay. And see, here's the thing with this too. We've got this segment that's coming up with the ladies in the show. We've got Mr. Bobinsky's Circus. Neither of those are things that Coraline, I can't speak. Neither of those are things that Coraline cares about. She likes adventure and exploring and unfolding like hidden mysteries. These are things that Miss Spink, Miss Forcible, and Mr. Bobinsky would be into. Like they've been through the little door before, and now like this is their resulting other version of themselves, if I'm making any sense. There's a reason I write notes and script things out, because I can't pay attention to myself while I'm talking and watching. And now we have a kids movie with a burlesque show in it. This is a peep show, guys. This is so inappropriate. And if you look, people argue with me about this a lot. If you look closely, they have white buttons with blue eyeshadow on them. It is hard to see it now, but you can definitely see it when they start swinging towards each other. Right? Oh my gosh, and you can see her boobs jiggle, and it's so disturbing. But yeah, see, those are clearly buttons with blue eyeshadow. Because they're vain and they still think they're gorgeous. So, of course, they have, prettied up buttons. See, perfect shot. Definitely buttons. And the fact that they're fighting each other, like, they like being ogled and they take pride in being the one who is the most, like, objectified by the audience. That is such a weird, awkward message for a kid's movie. And now they'd be dead if they weren't fake. But yeah, this seems like the wish fulfillment of Miss Spink and Miss Forcible, not something made specifically for Coraline. This is like a remnant of what the other mother did before for other people. Oh my gosh. That little mermaid thong thing, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, watch him bounce. And again, now they have black buttons with the eyeshadow over it. Which, that's actually kind of interesting too, because why would their buttons change colors if it's just them still? Is it trying to highlight that they're blind, maybe? I'll have to admit, the button color change is something I had not noticed before. Gosh, that makes me dizzy just looking at it. And into glitter boxes, because why not? It's full of glitter and we didn't die. Look, it's amazing. Good thing he was mysteriously carrying a rose for no reason. You see them bouncing while they're holding each other. That's such a amazing detail. Like, they do such a good job with all these little details. They really think about so many things. And there you can see the Beldame's butt ruffles there kind of flooping out. She's starting to get this sort of spidery feel and look of a Black Widow on her. Even that YB feels bad about what he's doing for Cora. See, he's acting the exact same way that the other YB was acting in the real world, and just very like nervous and looking down and looking like he doesn't like what he's having to do. So how do I not translate that and say that the actual physical YB with regular eyes isn't doing the same thing and setting her up? Like, that's YB's whole thing in this movie, is being the setup guy. Interesting skulls with the horns in the background. They're very demonic-y. Okay, now watch. It's coming up right here. How did she was just looking at her, talking to her, looking her in the face, and then the Beldam swishes around her. So yes, the Beldam can change forms and move fast enough to be both the other mother and Mel Jones in the limbo world. I don't think the other father has changed his clothing at all in this movie. And what's neat, the sky is normal outside here, but it's not outside her actual house before she goes in the other world. I want to hug your face. I swear, I'm trying so hard to look at that and see a girl, but I'm not getting it myself. See, Coraline doesn't move here because the other mother doesn't want her to move. If it was a portal, I imagine the other mother would have no control over whether or not Coraline got through to the other side, but it's not. The only thing that changed was that Coraline was physically put in another place because she has the power to do that in the other world. And it's an interesting detail that she's still got on the star outfit that the other mother gave her, because would that play any hindrance in her ability to get through to the other side? So see, if she lost control of the other father and he's just kind of absent-mindedly spitting out information he shouldn't, then how does she still have control over the piano? This whole thing wouldn't happen and wouldn't be an issue unless the other mother was willing it to happen. And look, now the orchard is beautiful, it's fresh, there's fruit everywhere. But like I was saying, I don't think it's that the other mother is tired and that the other father's kind of breaking down from her control, because it doesn't make sense why everything else is still under her control perfectly fine then. I think that these are all puppets. She's supposed to find out that this is kind of a scary place and this is a scary world, so that she will go back through the tunnel and lock herself in and throw away the key and not come back again. Like, not ever be tempted to come back again. See, the cat is so vague, and it doesn't have any firm answers, even though it seems to know everything about the beldam. So, why not? Like, if the cat really wants to help her, why doesn't he say firmly one way or the other? Why is he suggesting maybe it's this or maybe it's that? Maybe she loved you or maybe she's gonna kill you. Who knows? Like, that's not a normal, sensible behavior. That's to make somebody confused. And now right here you have the cat crunch down, kill that mouse, watch it turn into a rat right in front of Coraline. That's for the benefit, so that now Coraline goes, I'm going to take this cat seriously. This cat is my friend. So that later when the cat tells her, yeah, you're good, well, okay, I must be good then. I wonder why that tree is knocked over. I don't think it's knocked over on the other version of, well, the real world, I guess. Or the limbo world. I don't remember seeing the tree knocked over. Yep, that's going to hold a magical demon. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes more sense. You're breaking in. That's fair. Ka-thunk. The creepiest furniture ever now. The one upside down is great, though. Zanzibar. So she has been in the real world. So if my Kuba theory is right, then that would make a lot of sense, because she knows of the real world and all the different places in it. And this is where I think that the other mother doesn't really live off of food, and she's not wanting to eat Coraline. She needs Coraline to love her. There's this really big fixation of, you need to obey me, you need to listen to me, you need to love me, and you need to stay with me. And the only reason that would make any sense is if she fed off of that loving energy. Because, yeah, see, this is where she throws all the kids, supposedly, when they don't behave. And she just said, you can come out when you learn to be a loving daughter. So when these other kids rebelled, maybe she threw them in here, maybe she threw them in the limbo pink palace area and let them grow up and age and die like any old regular person, but it seems really clear that she's not after physically eating Coraline. She's like, okay, the best way to somebody's heart is through their stomach, like that old saying. She's feeding Coraline not to fatten her up, but because she wants Coraline's affection. They did such an interesting job with these ghosts, too. And the glow-in-the-dark stars is such a good touch. See, she spied on our lives through the little doll's eyes, so she sees through all the buttons. And what's the point of seeing through the other father's button eyes if she can't do anything to control him? And I know in the book there's a point where he goes after Coraline and he's like, so sorry, mother's making me. What is... Wait, there's like a hole or a dent in that bed? What is that? It was like almost like a puddle. That's weird. And here's another catalyst moment of like, oh, okay, well, if you get our eyes back, that would really help us out and we could leave. And so if you don't do that, you're kind of a bad person. And why could Wybie, other Wybie, I guess, even reach through there and get Coraline? Because he's not technically magical. I mean, the Beldam's magic power is what's supposed to be interacting with that mirror, or at least so says my observation. So if he's not a key piece of one of the Beldam's puppets, then how did he have the ability to reach through there? She's controlling everything else. Why would we assume she's not controlling the people just because they're people-shaped? And there's where the tunnel gets all different and weird gloves, backpacks, boats. I don't think this is the same tunnel. Sawdust. All over his sleeve. It's very clearly he's made out of compressed sawdust. Which, again, there was a big sawdust industry, or is maybe, in Ashland, Oregon. So another great detail. But yeah, there's something weird here. And baseball glove, I mean, this is like a portal through time, and it's not the same one she's been walking through. There's been nothing in the one she's been walking through. So she's just getting sent to a different location at this point. And again, I think this is maybe a part of the Limbo Pink Palace, not another location in the real world. Okay, I wonder if they're going to show that clock. See, that suggests, I mean, a week or more that it's been sitting out to be that rotted with that many bugs in it. Eggs aren't going to usually hatch in 24 hours. They didn't get close enough to the clock that I could see it, though. Oh, but if you see here on the side with the mailboxes, they've shown it several times. It says apartment A, B, and C. So there is no split in half apartment that's the other half of the big unit. Like, there's only 3 apartments. There's not 4 like in the book. I know a lot of people have tried to argue for that, too, and it's not here in the movie. That's why I always say, you might get some ideas, some clues from the book, but they're really alternate universes doing very different things. But we're going to leave the key in it just in case. See, it's so weird. Coraline didn't get rid of the key. That's why the Beldam had to come back and up the ante. We just saw the key was left in the door. That means there's potential Coraline might come back through there, and then from there, from the Beldam's lair area, Coraline could find her way back through to the real world. So that's why she has to go back through for the Ghost Eye adventure, because that's going to scare her into getting rid of that key. It's all a trap. You said it yourself best, hon. See, that's because you're crazy. He's looking her right in the eyes saying it. I don't think that's a scripted moment. But whenever he's saying something scripted that maybe a YB would feel bad for, whether he's real or not, I'm not really sure. But anytime he's saying something that seems like he's been prompted to say it, or this is how what he's supposed to do to manipulate her, he wrings his hands and he looks around and he looks guilty. He won't look her in the face. Who leaves with, I mean, their car keys are in the ignition. Their cell phone's in there. How did the beldam get them? I mean, wasn't it something through the mirror? Or even if they went through the door? Like, even if they both crawled through that stupid door, how would they have been so careless with the car and where they left their things? That doesn't make sense. They weren't in some rushing urge to run through the little door. You don't get lured into somewhere at a split second if she sent a doll and was working on them for who knows how long. Two headless girls now. 21, 36, and 60. I still think that has some relation more to the residents than the ghost kids. Because, you know, pioneering days was in the 1800s. My gosh. The little Huck Finn Jr., he was more from a World War I or prior era. And then the little twin girl that went missing, we know she's from the 60s-ish. That would make sense for her timeline. It just seems like that's when people moved in. And that makes more sense to me because we had a fourth candy jar for Coraline that broke because Coraline gets free or thinks she gets free. She broke the mold, literally. There's a great shot of that picture again, showing that Coraline does not always have blue hair. She does not have blue hair because she's the main character. She has blue hair because her parents wanted to give her something that they could afford to give her that was reasonable because she didn't want to move. So, okay, we got to take your whole world away. What can we offer you? Well, how about crazy blue hair like you wanted? See, she puts the neck brace on the pillow. And then she must have some really interesting material in those pillows, though, to get him to stay in those positions and shapes. Either that or Dad's got really strong glasses. Much nicer glasses than a man of his income should have. Mine aren't that strong. And now, here's the cat. Come on, you gotta come save the ghost kids. Yep, that's where I would scream waking up. Oh my gosh, I've woken up before with a cat on my chest, nose to nose with me to get the heat out of that I'm breathing out. And I will tell you, I've never screamed so loud. That's the most shocking thing, to wake up to a face looking at you. See, okay, this is the real world, supposedly, so why is the mirror magical? There's no way and no reason that mirror should be showing her parents unless she's in this alternate limbo world that's still part of the other world. The real world would have no way for this magic mirror to exist right now. And this irritates me. Like, she can only have one doll ever, and here's mom and dad together. Like, you're gonna bring them in on the same thing? I mean, I've been married for 11 and a half years at this point, and yeah, you're gonna lure my husband in with, like, guns, and you're gonna lure me in with, like, Disney movies. So one doll would not work for both of us as individual people. And by the looks of Mel and Charlie, their relationship is not so much better than mine, and they're on some same wavelength of doing all the same stuff. Dad can't even work on the same catalog as Mom without, going haywire to work on his passion project book. See, and the cat's like, yeah, you need to go back. You need to go back. I can't tell you what to do. And see, we don't know that the cat can't speak. We just know that the cat is not speaking. But it has this, unusual level of intelligence for any type of animal in this world. So again, being in another section of the other world right now makes the most sense. And now we're climbing through yet a different tunnel this one's fuzzy, you see? Like this tunnel's fuzzy, it's not lit, and it doesn't have all the cobwebs and toys up in it. This is a whole third different tunnel. They're technically not in the other world yet, but the cat's talking in the tunnel. So again, that's a weird gray area. And now here's the part that proves most of my theory ideas right. You see her eyeballs very distinctly. She has normal eyeballs. You can see it right here in a second when it turns the camera around. They go from normal eyeballs transforming into buttons. So the Beldam can make things with normal eyes, and she can have regular eyes herself anytime that she wants to. That means she doesn't need those buttons because she can transform anything into those sockets that she wants. She can be the other mother and Mel Jones all in one swoop, and especially since we saw earlier that she can just move in this really quick, weird way that there's nothing, there's nothing, it makes nothing but sense that she's playing both sides and that Coraline is really not going back to the real world. See, and again, that sounds like, well, he's not supposed to say that, but he's got the button eyes. She controls him. She's dragging him off right now so that Coraline thinks, oh, there's only one key. So when I get rid of this key, there's nothing left. And that's really important to get Coraline to believe so that she can't get out later if she does realize anything. And if you notice, other than like the dining room and the kitchen, Coraline is never really brought in the same place twice. They're always moving her around. She has to go out in the garden. She's at Mr. Bobinski's, Miss Spink and Forcible's. And that's so she doesn't start noticing cracks and inconsistencies and things. And let you love me, not let you eat me. And remember too, like I said, the cat is playing both sides. Well, not really playing both sides, but the cat is acting like he's on Coraline's side. And the cat is the one that told her to challenge the Beldam to a game. Now, the Beldam's not stupid. She knows it's hard to get people into her lair. She knows that kids aren't coming in every day and people aren't coming in every day. So why would she ever agree to a game where she might lose? Plus, the Beldam's really not even playing this game. She's just sort of sitting back and observing. So there's literally nothing in this agreement for her. And now the whole point of this whole part of the movie is to make is to make Coraline so afraid of the other world that she never has any desire to go back in again. because before she's always felt like she's been the one that's been in control, so if she comes back she'll have the power or the ability to leave if she wants to, and the beldam can't keep having her come back and forth and back and forth. It costs too much energy to the beldam, and there's too much risk for Coraline getting out. See, these things weren't nice and turned evil on their own. This is all because she's controlling them. That's the only reason they care about that stone. There's no reason they should care about the seeing eye, except that the beldam is controlling them. So if she's controlling the bugs and the toys and everything else, she's controlling the people too. Everything is her puppet. Otherwise, she wouldn't need something else to love. She would already be able to make other things to love. And this whole thing with the seeing eye, again, it works because the beldam allows it to work. See, mother's making me, but I mean, really? Can she if she's not controlling every aspect of you all the time? I don't think it's the gloves that were doing this. I think she wants her to find these eyes and escape narrowly by the skin of her teeth and then throw that key away so that she's trapped in the limbo world. Because the whole thing, why would you even need or want their eyes? I would get like the book called them souls, but why eyes? And don't give me that the eyes are the window to the soul thing, because yeah, that means you can see the soul through the eyes, not that the eyes are the soul. You don't steal car keys and leave the car behind. So yeah, the whole thing, the eyes are the windows to the soul, it just doesn't make sense. That would be like, oh, I stole something to look at your soul, but not your actual soul. Why? Now they're all bat dogs. We'll call them Ace. The collective consciousness of Ace. Such an interesting, like the toffee wrapper womb effect that they did with this. I guess that's just how they're stored until some other unlucky person wanders in. And now this is where the movie stops being a kid's horror movie and turns into like an adult level horror movie, because their faces, like, it's unsettling at how freaky they look. But yeah, it makes more sense that the beldam was like, well, when Miss Spink and Forcible were here, this was their version of the dream world, was this big theater apartment, so I'm going to keep this here and just make candy versions of them so that I've got something to show the next person that wanders through. Oh, his flag is black. Oh no, he is the flag. Okay, I knew there was something weird. No, Whitey's. I knew there was something different there. See, it's been a minute since I've watched the whole movie from start to finish. You start to lose some details here and there. But other Wybie wasn't real. He was just sawdust, and he showed you that. So who cares, really, if he's not real for real? And this, the way he moves, it's... Oh my god. It's just so the stuff of nightmares, that suit. See, but if they're trying to sell Coraline and really convince her, why does he look so freaky like this? Because Coraline hasn't even taken those eyeballs out of the other world, so they're still under the Beldium's control. She can still draw power from them if they're legit. The thing is, they're not legit, and this is all manipulative. And see, like here, Coraline is going to fail to get the little mouse ball, and the cat's going to bring it to her. So Coraline she didn't find it. Bobinski volunteered it to her, so she didn't even find it herself. Then she loses it. Then the cat brings it to her, and somehow that's not cheating that the Beldam calls shenanigans on, because, I mean, I'm seeing lots of button-eyed things here that are telling the Beldam in real time that Coraline is cheating. And I don't know if that's supposed to be a timer. I don't. Did they say she had a time limit in this? I don't remember them, giving her like an hour to find it all. And so for that timer over the moon to stop, the Beldam had to be the one to stop it. But Coraline didn't find the ball. She lost the ball. The cat brought her the ball. It doesn't make sense. Like, that should be an automatic, oh my gosh, you just lost because this ball got away. And now the timer started again, and she's out of time, I guess. I mean, I don't know. That's such a bizarre detail here. It's a really beautiful detail, but it's bizarre. And what they don't tell you that the book does that I think it would have been a nice touch is that when the cat starts freaking out here, it's because all the little portals that go in and out of the other world had just flattened. So the cat is like actually stuck right now. That's why he goes off with Coraline. Or at least in the book verse. Again, movie verse is a very different thing, but I thought that was something that worked really well in both. And I wish they would have put that little detail in. Oh my gosh, I have headphones in and you can hear the wallpaper curling and just really good subtle sound effects. Now we have the throbbing wallpaper, which is really interesting, but it's just a freak out. This place could look any way that she wants it to. It's not like this is the actual form of this room or the other world, because it's about to downgrade again into one giant spider's web. And the cat doesn't talk in her presence. Isn't that interesting? He literally just went out of his way to meow. Well, I mean, even if she loses, she doesn't have another father anymore. And why does that melt? Is it supposed to be made out of the toffee? Because I thought that it was just hidden inside the toffee for reasons. That fire is really interesting too, and I assume that's because stop motion fire would be next to impossible, but I don't know. There's something really cool and interesting about that green spinning fire. See, why would they be able to give her any clues? Like she found them because she audibly heard them. Again, wouldn't that be considered cheating? And the Belgium's not stupid, so why would she play into this trap? See, like, the cat's face is even like, I'm so sorry she's making me do this. See, but the eyes aren't necessary. They've already established she doesn't need the eyes. She can change her form. The buttons are completely an aesthetic feature. And the cat's like, screw this. I've done my job. I'm out. And I know a lot of people say, well, then why does she act so blind on the web if the eyes don't matter? It's because she wants Coraline to get away. This is not the actual spider web. That's the limbo world. That's the trap world. She doesn't want Coraline to stay down there because she's got to keep managing all these different parts while she's down here. And then she's got to do it. Oh, gosh. Give me a heart attack like every time. Like, this movie gets, like, really freaky. But you're telling me invisible, intangible souls are somehow more powerful than the other mother, who is a magical demon beast demon thing. Oh, and one more book detail that was interesting is that when the ghosts come to help her close the door, boom. Oh, give you a heart attack, I swear. But when the ghosts come to help her close the door, her parents are part of that. And while the beldam was beating on the door there, she said, I'll die without you, I believe is how she put it. Not, I need to eat or anything of that nature. So I do think the love is really the key there of what she feeds on. Where's that draining from? They still have the snow on them. But they have no idea and no memory, even though several times they signaled to Coraline that they needed help. So what sense does that make if this is legit the real world now? And it looks like his glasses are even frosted, so how is he pretending not to see that? And then the snow melts as quickly as possible, like unnaturally fast. It's been sitting on them for the last minute while they were hugging and talking, but now the snow just immediately evaporates as soon as Coraline draws attention to it. So no, this is not the real world. But look, now we're going to give you everything that we promised you in the beldam's lair of here's somebody to play with you, here's somebody to love you, here's everything you ever wanted. There's still a button eye on that octopus. Okay, there's no way you would get me anywhere near a button-eyed object after all of that. And now Mom's suddenly gone from being, this evil, heinous, mean mom in the first part of the movie to now she's the nice mom that bought you these gloves that, you previously couldn't afford and still probably shouldn't waste money on because they're stupid gloves. See, Cat has to be like, why would you do that? He's still playing her. Because look how quickly he let go of that issue. And how would she know anything about setting them free? And why would putting them under her pillow equal freedom to her? That would be a smothering death if they were actual living things. And now they're here to tell her, hey, by the way, there's no unfinished business left now that you've had the bejesus scared out of you, so you better get rid of that key or you're gonna die. And another interesting point, I don't know if I've ever brought it up in videos before, but the Beldame's hand coming through to the real world, I mean, if she could do that, why bother with the mice or anything else? Why not send her hand out and, or her arm or her whole body? Who cares? If part of her can go, all of her can go. And just physically snatch a baby and then run back to the other world. I mean, why does she need to lure kids in and make it this beautiful, fun place and do the button? I mean, that's all frosting, really. I mean, it doesn't make sense if this is the real world that parts of the Beldame can go in and other parts, it just doesn't work right. Because if that's how it works, why is she waiting? And see, if this is the real world, why is it now fall with these things, going all over the place, or even springtime? Because we just saw that a day or so ago, it was President's Day. And now these things look like they're either blooming or they're starting to fall, and they're no longer decrepit and rotting like they just were in the beginning of the film. These are part of the healthy trees that we saw in the other world. And the hand is just there, I think, to reconfirm that the other mother wants that key back, so you got to do something drastic with that key. Because she'll come and get it. She'll come and get it and then come after you, even though she supposedly can't come to the real world, but she kind of can in this moment. So who knows what the rules are. And see, I know I've said this before, but the Beldame isn't an engineer, so that hand is held together by magical properties, which means it can put itself back together at its own will. And I think it works really nicely in this moment if that is a portal to the other world. And I'm not positive that it is, but we've seen at least 3 different tunnels already, so why couldn't this be one? Wasn't that square before? Okay, I might be like totally wrong here, but I swear when he opened that door in the beginning of the movie, it was a square. And now it's a circle cover over like a normal type of well hole. That's something big. I mean, that's a big like check mark on my point of this cannot possibly be the real world at the end. I mean, I thought the trees were big, but if the whole shape of the door changed, that's a big deal. And somebody's going to go back and be like, no, you were totally wrong there. All right, that's fine. I tried. At least I tried. I'm being visually aware. You can't be right 100% of the time. See, now it's square again. Am I missing something here? And the Beldame's hands are, that looks like it's symbolizing the Beldame no longer has a hand in the real world, but to me, I'm still seeing her hand there, and that's a problem. And see, this is again exactly what the Beldame promised. Oh, we'll play with you. We'll do what you want. We'll play in the mud, plant flowers. And now what's happening? All of these people in her life that are recluses, basically, are now outside interacting with her, having this little garden planting party. Why would they do, like, okay, even if her parents just sold their catalog so they're in a good mood, what about these other residents? They have nothing else to do. They have, they suddenly want to go outside when she's got gammy legs and he's got all this crazy mouse stuff to fixate on. I like how she moves. Like, Miss Lovat has got this very, like, legit old lady way of moving. Like, the shaking that they do with all these characters, it's always on point. But what is she going to possibly tell Miss Lovat about her sister that's not going to upset this lady to the point that she, like, dies over it? And here, again, proving my point that this is not really the real world, is the cat going behind the post. And the thump. Like, that's not like a happy, case closed, story's done, this was great. It's a thump, like an oh my gosh. The other world is still there. The Beldam's still there. I mean, even if they destroyed her hand, they didn't destroy her, and we have no reason to believe she's going to die immediately if she's not telling a lie that she'll die without Coraline. I mean, there's so much of this that doesn't make sense if you watch it with the grain of the film. This is the best film to watch against the grain and challenge everything you're seeing, because we have so many details telling us to challenge exactly what we're seeing. And I guess I'm gonna probably hang out through the whole credits. It says there's still, well, 5 minutes and 1 second left if you're trying to see if we're still in sync. I hope this has worked out with you guys and you've had fun watching Coraline and listening to me ramble on like an idiot about it. I've never done a video like this, so if this is your first video of mine, if I could speak right for 5 seconds, yeah, please don't be put off by this if you hate it, but if you really like it, let me know, because there's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of movies that I could do something like this for. We had a great time the other day watching Jurassic Park and playing MST3K the entire time. So I'm open to this if you guys are. I don't know, though. I just need the feedback. I need to see people watching it, the engagement. So yeah, you got to just keep letting me know what you want, and I keep trying to deliver. All the angel dogs are fighting off the bat dogs. I never noticed that before. I always thought it was just one of those weird things to keep you semi-entertained throughout the credits. Yeah, it's like the angel dogs are hunting the bat dogs. There's so not much to say about the credits when not a lot's going on. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not even sure why these angel dogs are flying, because they were just like outfits that they put on them. So what is that suggesting? Ah, well, one of the photo friends looked like her name was Maria or Mariana. I noticed it too late. So I guess, yes, it's confirmed. One of them is definitely supposed to be a girl, even though I am still going to insist that I cannot tell that visually. And there goes the Pixar ball, basically. No, it's the little rat ball, but why the dogs are playing with it makes for some interesting ideas to possibly theorize on. I don't think I actually will, but everything is something in a Leica film. And the little song in French that they sing, it's another detail that gets under your skin and creeps you out. I don't fully know the whole production team at Leica, but they are extraordinary. And I hope they have many more movies to come, because I think this and then Kubo were just so over the top incredible. And I'd love to see more like that. Unfortunately, I don't think Kubo did very well at the box office, and I don't know how the DVD Blu-ray sales went, so I don't know what they're going to do next, but I hope it's as good as this. Like, I mean, Paranorman's pretty good, and Box Trolls is like, where did this come from? This is totally a whole different thing from what you guys are doing in your kid horror genre. But Kubo and Coraline are like just a whole different level. Special thanks to Phil Knight. Isn't he like the CEO of Nike or something? Maybe I'm mistaken, but I know there's something Knight that runs Nike. And now we get the little Leica after credits bonus scene where they show you a bit of their animation tricks, and you see the rig sort of making these mice move and come to life, and how cool is that? This is such an excellent movie and an excellent job on all the animation and detail work. Thank you, Leica, for making this film, and thank you, all of you, for watching this incredibly long sort of test video from me. I hope I didn't make too many weird, awkward sounds that I don't notice that I subconsciously do. Okay, now it's trying to recommend that I watch True Wonderful Wishes, and so that seems to be the end of everything. Going back to browse, and again, thanks everybody. Thank you so much for 100,000 subscribers, and I will see you in the next episode, whatever that might be. Well, that's all I have for now, but this video's not quite over yet. I get a lot of comments that say, do a theory on this topic, but I've already done those theories. So please consider going to my main channel page and clicking on the video tab so that way you can see everything I've done. You will probably find a lot of things you like that you never even knew that I posted. I want to let you know that I also have 2 other channels, Say Halo Goodbye Gaming and the Fanily Family Vlogs. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed enough to hit subscribe and share. I can use all the help I can get to let other people know that this channel exists. And if you made it this far, leave me a comment that says something like, hey, I made it to the end, and then let me know what kind of videos you want to see in the future. I can't make any promises, but the more people that request something, the more I can look into it. Okay, well, I love you. I'll see you in the next video.